This is a 5-day backpacking trip in Arizona's Sycamore Canyon Wilderness in February of 2020. I started at the Parsons Trailhead just north of Cottonwood, Arizona. I climbed up onto Packard Mesa before descending into Sycamore Basin and spent a couple nights near Sycamore Creek. Then I explored some side trails out east and then headed west to complete a difficult but rewarding loop of the Yew Thicket and Henderson trails. I hope you enjoy. Driving along the beautiful Sycamore Canyon Road. We do have a little bit of snow up on the mountains here. We might be hiking through some snow on this trip. So we are on a pretty rough dirt road, but it's not so rough that a two-wheel drive can't make it. Well, good morning everybody. It is Sunday, February 16th, 2020, and I am at the Parsons Trailhead, just outside the Sycamore Canyon Wilderness, just north of the town of Cottonwood, Arizona. I'm planning on 6 days of backpacking, so I have 6 days of food in my pack, and I definitely need to be out of here by Friday because Saturday a big winter storm is supposed to move through. So anyway, let's get on the move. All right, so the info sign at the trailhead kind of shows a little bit of our route. So you can see here that we are at this trailhead, and I'm actually going to take the Packard Mesa Trail 66 up today, and we don't actually see on this map here where we're going to go. We're going to go in about 11 miles today. It's also worth noting that along this Parsons Trail there's no camping for 3.7 miles or 6 stream crossings, as you can read the sign right here, but we're actually going to go up on Packard Mesa where you can camp. Here's a shot of the area near the trailhead. There's my little tiny car, and we're gonna go down into this canyon right in front of us here. Alright, and you can already see Sycamore Creek down there in the basin. Looks like it's running pretty good, and I'm gonna have to cross that stream a few times. So we're entering Sycamore Canyon Wilderness. Yeah, we're going to be taking the Packard Trail up across the other side of the canyon. So looking back, that little pass there on the right is where the trailhead is at. So the river basin's down in there, and I'm up on this mesa. And we have some cliffs on the other side. It's starting to see some red rock. And some kind of pink cliffs up there. And we don't really have a good look at the canyon yet, but we will in just a little while. Alright, way out there is a snow-covered Woodchute Mountain, where I've actually done a backpacking trip video on top of Woodchute Mountain. And then up here, I don't know what this peak is called. but it's pretty cool. This is some good climbing. We're getting a lot of elevation gain today. We're actually starting to see some cool red cliff bands coming up. Yeah, the words that keep coming to mind in my head up here is like a mini Grand Canyon. It just seems like a little version of the Grand Canyon, and that is pretty cool. I believe on day 2 we will be making our way out to that canyon wall that's way far out there, kind of the whitish colored stuff. We're getting our first view of Humphreys Peak, way out there near Flagstaff, Arizona. I've noticed you see this kind of crisscross pattern in the rocks all over the Southwest. I see this stuff up on the Mogollon Rim, and I also see this in Utah a lot. Alright, I am up on top of Packard Mesa, so it's going to be mostly flat for quite a few miles here, which is nice because the climb up to the top was really steep, and man, that was tough. To my left, kind of more towards the northwest, there's this awesome butte, or I guess rock formation here, and we're going to be ascending kind of the backside of that. There's some canyons that go up through there on day 4, and then we're going to kind of keep going along the mesa top up here, and I think that's called Henderson Mesa or Henderson Peak. Not exactly sure about that, but those hills and that mesa up there is where we're going to be descending on day 5, and hopefully I will be camping somewhere down at the foot of these nice pretty cliffs on the final day. There's some interesting erosional features through here. Kind of a whole network of eroded channels. We got some cow friends over here. They're ways off. There's actually a stock tank over there. I did expect that I would encounter some kind of cows out here, and there's a huge number of them out here right next to me. There's quite a few of these guys over here. A big heifer too. And there is water. It's not nice looking water though. Okay, so we're at our trail junction here. I am going to continue along Sycamore Basin Trail, number 63. And the trail listed right below that is Yew Thicket Trail. That's Y-E-U, trail number 52. And that's actually where we're going to be going up on day 4 to start our second loop. And actually, right here is where we're going to meet up with where that loop is going to end. Let's see. So right there, it's hard to see on camera, but that sign says 53 on it down there. Kind of like, whoop, right there. And that's the Henderson something or other trail. I'm not sure the exact name of it. And that's where we will be coming back out of on either the 5th or the 6th day to complete the second loop. All right, we're about to drop back down into Sycamore Canyon over the next few miles. Man, am I lucky or what to be hiking in a place like this. Wow. Alright, so that out there is Kasner Butte. That is what we're climbing tomorrow on day 2. You can see off in the distance, well I can see them anyway, there's some power lines that go up that. It's tough to see, but if you look across that ridge line, there's these little things sticking up. Those are actually the power lines. That's about as far as I can zoom in on this lens here. Okay, I think I have about 4 miles to go on this 11 or 12 mile route today. Yeah, I should be making camp. Let's see, it's just after 3 right now, so I should be making camp around 5:30. This is the first water I've seen since that stock tank way up on top of Packard Mesa. So it looks like on this trail we have these eye blazes. You see these all over national forests, all over the Southwest. I'm not really sure why this is here because this trail honestly is super duper easy to follow right now. Well, I was just about to film something saying that there don't seem to be any campsites on the way to Sycamore Creek, but actually right behind me is a campsite that I just found. It's kind of a crappy little campsite. It would probably be something like a last resort, as there really isn't any water over here. So this is mostly going to be dry camping up here until you get back down to Sycamore Creek. Okay, so I am about 2.5, maybe 3 miles from the canyon bottom. So I figure I have about 90 minutes of hiking left, which is going to coincide with me camping around 5:30. And this is a look at the cliffs that I will be going up on top of on day 4. Kind of a rear set out here. There's sort of a clearing. This red rock is just lovely in the late afternoon. You can see some pretty neat rock formations with some striations and sort of folding patterns. I don't think I can convey on camera just how big those rock formations that I just filmed are. On camera they may look like they're pretty far away, but from my vantage point they look like I could just spend about 10 minutes walking up to them, and they're just enormous. Okay, I'm not positive on this, but I think I have finally crested this sort of Sycamore Basin, and I am finally about to drop down into Sycamore Canyon again, where I'm going to camp. Probably is going to be a pretty steep drop because I climbed up to 4,700 feet, and I think I will be camping at 4,200 or 4,300 feet. And I think I only have about 1.5 miles left, so it's a nice steep drop. And these views just keep on giving. I knew it was going to be pretty, but I had no idea it was going to be this nice. It's the canyon that we're going to drop into eventually. Somewhere out there, I figure. Alright, it'll be dark soon. I have a little over 1/2 mile left still, I think. So let's hope that the 1 or 2 little campsites down by the creek are available. I actually haven't seen anybody on this trip yet. Actually, I haven't seen anybody since the trailhead. Rocks over here. Well, I'm on the Dogie Trail, D-O-G-I-E. I refuse to call it Dogie. This is the Dogie Trail. I am about 1/4 mile from where I want to camp and 1/4 mile from water. It's funny, just a few minutes after I was telling you guys about how I hadn't seen anybody on the trail all day long, I came across a dude who was backpacking also, and we swapped notes about who's where and how far to water and all that stuff. Well, there is Sycamore Creek down there, and that's our water source. It doesn't seem to be flowing very much, but there's definitely huge pools that you can swim in over here. So at least I know I'm gonna have water. Right, this pool here is my water source, and it's actually gonna be my water source on days 2, 4, 5, and 6. It's actually going to be my main water source for the entire trip because I'm going to be coming through this Dogie Trail a couple of times on my way back up to the area where I don't expect to find any water. So I'm down here in this canyon in Sycamore Creek. Well, I guess you can't really call it a creek right now, but it's really a wide creek. I imagine during flood stage, this is not a place that you want to be. So I have my filter bags filtering away right now, and it's only about half an hour before dark, so I have to hike another 1/10 of a mile back down the creek to go back to where the campsites were that I found. So this pool is pretty, but the view looking up above it is prettier. I wish I could just camp down in this canyon, but that's definitely not safe. Alright, I've got my water. I actually topped up to 8 liters because that's actually how much I'm going to have to carry on day 4, 5, and 6. And I wanted to feel how heavy my pack would be. And it's heavy. It's not fun doing this while boulder hopping. So I'm down in Sycamore Canyon still. I got to walk about 1/10 of a mile back up to where the trail is in order to set up camp. Oh, that is heavy. All right, well, this is my campsite for the night. Tent goes there. Fire. There's no firewood, so I don't think I'm gonna have a fire. But yeah, it's time to set up camp and probably call it a day. All right, it's just about nighttime, and as in the fashion of true wilderness experience, there's a jet flying overhead, and I'm about to make dinner. All right, now we're camping. Once again, yep, I know. It's like ubiquitous now with my channel. But hey, this is the food that I got for like 6 days. I gotta say, I am starting to get a little bit tired of green belly meals and mountain house meals. So I bought myself a food dehydrator recently, and going forward on my channel, you'll start seeing some more homemade meals. All right, so today we covered about 13.5 miles. That includes the time spent retrieving the camera when I record myself. I think it was more like 12 to 12.5 miles. Once again, the Forest Service mileages are not accurate. I was expecting less miles than that, but it wasn't a huge deal, but I just had barely enough daylight to complete the hike. So hopefully that doesn't come back to bite me on subsequent days on this trip. So I'm gonna try to get on the trail really early tomorrow. So that calls it a night. See you tomorrow. All right, so yesterday on day 1, we started at the Parsons Trailhead, and we connected up with the Packard Mesa Trail 66, and I followed that up onto Packard Mesa into Sycamore Basin. And we connected with the Sycamore Basin Trail number 63, and I followed that down to here, and that's where we're currently camped right now at the bottom of Sycamore Creek at the intersection with the Dogie Trail 116. And so today we're going to take this Dogie Trail 116 up out of the canyon again, up to the Sycamore Pass Trailhead, and then we're going to follow this little dirt road short distance. And then we're going to go up this Casner Mountain Trail number 8. And this is going to have a ton of elevation gain. I think that the climbing today is going to be about 3,000 feet. And then I'm going to be up on Casner Mountain, up high, probably around 6,800 feet. And we're going to camp somewhere in this area on one of these ridge lines. At least that's the plan. And then on day 3, we're going to follow this back down to the cabin, or I think it's called the Taylor Cabin Trail 35. We're going to follow that back to the Sycamore Basin Trail 63. Take this a ways. We're basically going to follow Sycamore Canyon on day 3. And the plan is to camp at the same exact spot on night 3. And then on day 4, we're going to be out in this kind of western area. And I'll explain more about that as we go. All right, I'm on the trail, and my pack's pretty heavy. I'm carrying about 6 liters of water right now because there's not going to be any water sources up on Casner Mountain. Alright, it looks like there's still water down there in Sycamore Canyon. Just some big pools, it looks like. Here's the view kind of from this high area where I'm at. Pretty awesome. So yeah, there are quite a few little campsites along the Dogie Trail, kind of once you climb back up out of the canyon. The canyon is kind of back behind all these trees. And here is the trail from whence I came. Some pretty awesome rock formations in front of us here. And out to my left, that's our destination for tonight. It doesn't look too bad from here, but that's really far away. And it's pretty high up. Okay, so you can see the trail going out there, kind of down at the bottom of the screen. And I can see now the pass that we're going to go up. I remember seeing pictures of this online. So we're going to go up through there. There's a kind of a little canyon that we're going to walk up. Alright, I think I finished ascending the pass. And that was a good amount of climbing already. I would be happy if that was the only climbing of the day, but now I have to climb over 2,200 feet up Casner Mountain, where I'm gonna camp for the night. Okay, I've decided to change my plans. I originally was gonna go up Casner Mountain and camp up there and then do this big loop around to the Taylor Cabin Trail tomorrow on day 3, and then go down Sycamore Creek a bunch, and then go back to the campsite where the Dogie Trail meets the Sycamore Basin Trail, the same spot that we camped at last night. I've made a decision that I'm out here to enjoy myself, and frankly the amount of climbing that I have to do today, like 3,000 feet, just doesn't sound like fun. So I think I'm just gonna actually go back down. I've explored most of the Dogie Trail, and I'm almost to the little trailhead that connects to it. So I'm actually gonna go back down and just set up my camp early and make lunch and just hang out. And then I'm gonna do the secondary loop that I had planned for days 4, 5, and 6. So this is instead gonna be more like a 4 or 5 day trip. And I'm totally fine with that. So what this does is this allows me to have more options with lower mileages. That means I can film some more scenes. What that also means is I can come back and do that Kasner, Taylor, Sycamore Canyon loop on another backpacking trip video. I'll do that over like a 3-day trip or something later on this spring. And I think that's a better way to split up the trip, the mileage, instead of doing one giant epic trip. So anyway, I'm going to head back down, back and set up camp early. All right, I am just descending back down the Dogie Trail. Got about 2.5 to 3 miles back to that campsite. And you'll notice there's a few clouds in the sky. I think there's a winter storm approaching in the next 3 days. I'm hoping to be out of here before it actually hits. Okay, I've set my camp up in the same spot as yesterday again. So it's only 3 p.m. here, so I think I'm just going to make lunch and hang out the rest of the day. I think tomorrow is going to be about 9 miles, and the rest of the miles for this trip should be under that amount. So yeah, I'm glad I made the decision I did. But yeah, you'll notice here it looks like there's a storm system moving in, and I'm hoping it doesn't rain because it's a really nice afternoon right now. But anyway, I got to go get some water before this storm moves in because my water is down in the canyon. Here's the view from my campsite. This has to be one of the most beautiful places I've ever camped. That mountain up at the very top there is where we were supposed to be camped at, but again, I changed my mind, and I'm happy that I did because I think the views down here actually probably are better anyway. Well, since I had the whole afternoon to burn, I walked around the area and I found a bunch of dead juniper wood, and found it quite a bit, so I think I'm going to be able to have a little campfire tonight. So that's pretty cool. I wasn't expecting to be able to have any fires on this trip. Alright, it's getting pretty dark out, so I'm going to call it a day here, make some dinner. But yeah, the next 3 days we're going to be heading back out of this canyon and going high onto some mesa tops. And yeah, I don't really know what the trails are like or what that has in store, but I know we're going to go up a pretty steep canyon early in the morning. So I'm going to try to get on the trail pretty early. Anyway, I will see you guys tomorrow. Alright, so we're currently camped right here at the Dogie Trail, Sycamore Basin Trail intersection. And the plan for today is we're going to hike back out on the Sycamore Basin Trail 63, back about 2 miles from where we came from on day 1. And then I'm going to turn right and go up the Thicket Trail number 52. And I'm going to take that a ways, I think probably 7 miles for a total of 9 miles today. And I'm going to try to camp in this area here for some awesome views. And then on day 4, I think I'm going to take this trail number 61 down. I forget the name of it, Actually, yeah, I think it's called Lonesome Pocket Trail, but it's also referred to as Unknown Trail. I'm not sure why that is, but I'm going to take that down, and hopefully there will be water near this Henderson tank area, but if not, I'm going to be carrying 8 liters of water today, so that should get me through 3 days. And I'm going to try to camp somewhere right in here, right within the wilderness boundary, where the trail intersects with it. And then on the final day, we're going to hike back out, all the way back down the Packard Trail, back to the trailhead. All right, it's time to say goodbye to the campsite that I've been calling home for the last couple days. This is a great campsite. I wouldn't hesitate to stay here again. But yeah, so I'm gonna head back up the Sycamore Basin Trail. I'm not gonna do very much filming until I get to the Yew Thicket Trail 52, just because I filmed most of what we're going up for the next 2 miles on day 1. And I'd like to not be filming myself going up and down those hills too much, because that's a lot of work. Anyway, let's go. Alright, here's the view, looking sort of at the area that I was at yesterday on day 2 when I hiked out on the Dogie Trail. That's the area where I got out to. Those buttes that you see sticking up right there, that's where Dogie Trail goes. And that's out where I was at before I turned around yesterday. And then to my left is Casner Mountain, which will have to wait for another trip. Alright, I am back up on top of Sycamore Basin. So this is the top point of the trail. And I think I have a view of where we're going today now. I think we're going up on top of this area here. And I'm really not sure where the trail is going to go. I'm guessing it's going to go up to the right here through this pass, but I could be wrong about that. So we have a lot of climbing to do still. Yeah, so I'm kind of in this little ditch along the trail where there's kind of this 4-way intersection where there's an arroyo, which is kind of one of these deep slots where water flows through when it floods. And I would not want to be in here when flood comes through because it's really deep. So kind of shows you just kind of where the trail goes through. Alright, I've reached the junction with Yew Thicket Trail number 52, so I'm going to take it this way a few miles. I know that we have probably at least 2 miles of steep climbing to do. I think the remainder will be about 6 miles. And once we get up to the top, it's going to be a few miles of flat walking until I make camp. So let's go. Alright, so we have a better view of the mesa top that we're going to be on top of today. And it's going to be quite a long ways before I get to the top of that. Man, I'm just taking a break here because I got a lot of climbing to do. But something I wanted to point out about this place is This is one of the most remote, least populated wilderness areas I've ever been in. I've seen all of 2 people on this entire trip so far, and we're on day 3 of 5. And like I saw one guy coming in just right at the end of day 1, and then yesterday on day 2 when I was going back on the Dogie Trail, there was a couple that was coming back. But other than that, I haven't really seen anybody, and I feel like this is sort of the in-season time to be here in sort of mid-February. I know March is more popular, but yeah, it's pretty cool. It's nice because I prefer areas where I feel more isolated, less crowds and all that stuff. But anyway, I got a ways to go still, so let's go. All right, we're starting to see some rock features that are reminiscent of southern Utah. Sort of an undercut or maybe a rock chunk that fell out of that. You can see kind of on the left of this rock formation that there's like a little cave there, and I'm almost positive that I see like a rock wall of some sort, so I think there are some ruins in there. They're a ways off the trail, but I probably wouldn't go up to them anyway. Seems like a lot of work, and really I'm not the type that normally would go up to ruins unless they were well publicized on a map. I believe it's probably a good idea to leave them be. What's also interesting about this trail is it doesn't seem to get much use. If you notice, there's this cryptobiotic soil here which takes hundreds of years to develop, and there's even a little bit of it on the actual trail surface that you have to walk on. Anyway, I'm about 4.5 miles through today's hike of 9 miles, so I'm about halfway. We really haven't begun the real climb yet, but that's gonna happen pretty soon. Okay, so I think these are the yew trees, that's spelled Y-E-U, after which this trail is named. I believe these are actually poisonous. I'm guessing if you eat them, not if you touch them. But I'm going to try not to touch them. Man, check out these rocks. This is just to the right of the trail. Oh man, this is really tough climbing. It just keeps going up and up, and I don't think I've even reached the crux of this route yet. All right, let's go. So we started down at about 4,000 feet, and we're at like 5,200 feet now. And yeah, if I had come up here about a week before, there would have been snow on this trail. There might be a little bit up at the top. Whew. Alright, I can finally see the pass that we're going to go up through in order to get to the top. It looks tantalizingly close, but I think we still got about a mile of climbing here. I'm just taking a breather up here. I'm almost all the way through the switchbacks. Kind of reminds me of the Trotter Trail in the Gila Wilderness in New Mexico. just these endless switchbacks. Oh man, I hate switchbacks. God damn. Anyway, here's the view from this little spot that I'm taking a break at. Pretty awesome. Almost to the top. Alright, here's the view from the top. We're still climbing just a little bit, but we're mostly leveling out in elevation now. That whole area down there is where I hiked up from. Pretty awesome view up here. Alright, I sure am glad that climbing is over with. I still need to travel overland about 3 to 4 miles, I believe, until I find a place to camp for the night. It's about 4 p.m. right now. It gets dark at about 6:30, so I think I should have plenty of time to find a place to camp. I think another couple miles and I'll be camping. It's pretty interesting up here. There's sort of these stunted trees. It's like a combination of pinyon pine, a little bit of ponderosa, a lot of junipers, and a lot of yew thickets, and a lot of manzanitas, which sometimes those get annoying, but right now they're so far off the trail they're just really pretty. Alright, I found a place to camp for night number 3. It's not an actual campsite, but it's flat enough. There's a lot of cow sign out here, a lot of cow prints, but luckily this area is cow patty free and it's flat enough to set up a tent. So yeah, time to set up and make some dinner. Alright, I got my camp set up. Temperature is dropping fast. It's freezing out here. I'm actually at about 6,100 feet or so, and we started the day off around 4,000 feet. So today was a lot of elevation gain, and it's probably about 10 or 12 degrees colder up here than it is down in the canyon that we started at. Anyway, I think our hike tomorrow is going to be somewhere around 7 or 8 miles. Real short day, and what's nice about that is I can start later in the day if I want to, and it's all downhill and flat. Except for just this one little push at the start here. So that's exciting because today was one of the toughest hiking days I've had in a really long time. So yeah, anyway, time for dinner, and see you guys tomorrow. Well, good morning. It's day 4. My watch says that it's 27 degrees outside right now. So yeah, I'm pretty well bundled up. Just retrieving my food bag at the moment. Yeah, I'm making a cold breakfast this morning, some cold granola, and I'm gonna drink some cold coffee because I'm almost out of fuel and I really want to save the rest of my fuel for dinner for tonight and maybe hot coffee for tomorrow before I head back to the car. Okay, so yesterday we traveled up the Sycamore Basin Trail and went through most of the Yew Thicket Trail, and I believe we're currently camped right here somewhere between these two little peaks. And so the plan for today is we're going to go up the rest of this Yew Thicket Trail to this little trail junction. And for some reason this says Bannon Creek Trail, but this trail number 61 right here, this is known by 3 different names. It's either the Unknown Trail, or the Lonesome Pocket Trail, or the Bannon Creek Trail. I'm really not sure, but either way we're going to descend sharply down a mile. I'm kind of hoping it's not like the endless switchbacks like yesterday, but then we're going to get down to Henderson Flat, and I'm actually going to check out a stock tank that's over there. Hopefully it has some water. That would be really nice. Either way, I have about 5 liters on me, and that should get me through the next 24 hours back to the car. And then I'm going to continue a ways, probably back to the junction with 53 Henderson Trail we're going to take, and then meet back up with the Sycamore Basin Trail. And I think I'm going to try to, if I have enough time, go into this area here and camp somewhere on Packard Mesa tonight, so that we'll have a very short hike back to the car tomorrow. All right, I'm all packed up. Let's go. Okay, I've reached the junction with the Yew Thicket Trail and trail number 61, which we're calling the Lonesome Pocket Trail, which is right behind me. And I can already see our destination down there. Well, one of our destinations. That is the Henderson tank down there, I believe, and I'm hoping there's going to be water down there. But it's a long way to the bottom. Okay, so you can see this is a very rocky and sandy trail at the same time. So I've been sort of boulder hopping and sort of slipping and sliding in sand at the same time. And it's a little bit slow going because this is more like a cow path than a hiking path. It's really wide, but it doesn't have a great surface for actually walking on. So this is taking a little while. Okay, I've reached a trail junction. So Lonesome Pocket is the way we came from, and actually Sand Flat is one of the connecting trails that was up on top. And I believe the other direction is this way, and this goes out to Sand Flat Trail, wherever it originates from. But we are going to continue down this way, and all of the descending is mostly over with. From here on out, it's going to be just minor up and downs and mostly flat. Okay, I'm just a little over 2 miles into today's route, and I am about to approach Henderson Tank, and hopefully there will be some water in it. We've got this old cabin here, and here's the tank. Let's see what we got here. Okay. Oh, okay. Well, it's pretty gross stuff. This is cow water. All right, well, I think I'm gonna pass on this water supply today. It's pretty gross, and it would take a lot of work to lower something into there to get the water out of it. You might not be able to tell on camera, but it's a good 2.5 feet down in order to reach in and get any water. So if I was desperate, I could make it work. But seeing as I have about 5 liters of water on me right now, that's enough to get me through 24 hours. So I think I'm just gonna move on and see if I come across anything better. All right, while I'm here, let's go check out this musty old cabin. Yeah. Let's see. Floorboards are sturdy enough. Yeah, the floorboards feel like they're gonna fall apart. There's not a whole lot in here. Cute. Pretty interesting little spot. I think it's time to move on. All right. Let's go. Okay, I'm now walking down the Henderson Trail number 53 back towards the Sycamore Basin Trail. Hey, look at this. Cool. Alright, I found this nasty pool of water, but it actually looks a little bit better than that cow water, but I decided this is probably going to be the last water I see, so I'm just going to go ahead and use it. I chugged a liter just now and I filled back up to 6 liters, so that basically means that I don't have to worry about my water supply anymore. We got a pretty good view of this mountain in front of us now, and what's interesting is now I notice that there are some undercuts, kind of like you see in Utah. Came a little over 4.5 miles on today's route, and I'm trying to get at least 9 miles in so that my route tomorrow back to the car will only be under 5 miles. So it's probably a good thing I got that extra water because it's actually pretty sunny and hot out today. And check out this awesome mountain. It's enormous. So this is from the trail, obviously, and it's way out there. And there are these towering white cliffs. So there are some cows out here. Yeah, so part of the reason that I want to do more miles today than I really actually need to is because I want to get away from the cows. So I just would rather not camp right next to them. All right, we've come to a clearing. This is the first time I've been able to really see all these rock features in detail. Kind of surrounded by them. That's pretty cool. Well, this Henderson Trail 53 is a lot more scenic than I thought it would be. I was kind of expecting it to just be kind of blasé, sort of walking through juniper forest, but it's turning out to be pretty awesome. Okay, I've made it back to the trail junction between Trail 53 and 63, and that's what I'm going to take right now. So we're going to go back down the Sycamore Basin Trail 63, and I'm not really going to film very much because I already filmed all that like on day one. So I want to do some miles and get as close to the car as I can. So I'm going to hike another 3 or so miles. It's 4:30 right now. So I'll make it just before dark and find a place to camp. All right, I found a place to camp for the last night. Check out the view from it. I'm just kind of tucked off the trail here, but I have a view of the whole canyon system. All right, the tent is up and the sun is going down, so I think it's time for some dinner here. And I just actually looked at my map, and I think I'm literally only 3 or maybe 3.5 miles walk to the car tomorrow. So tomorrow's gonna be a really short day, which I'm looking forward to it because today was a really long, almost 12 miles. But yeah, so it's time for some dinner and just gonna hang out, and I'll just get up whenever I feel like it tomorrow since it's such a short hike out, so that's kind of nice. Anyway, that's the end of day 4. See you tomorrow. All right, day 5. So I'm just gonna head about 3, maybe 4 miles back to the car, go down Packard Mesa, basically the way we came in on day 1. So since I filmed most of that on day 1, I'm gonna do very little filming on the way down. So I'll see you guys back at the car. All right, let's go. Okay, so since I filmed all of this area on day 1, I thought instead I would talk a little bit about the Sycamore Canyon Wilderness, my thoughts in general on it. So this wilderness is really pretty. It has exceeded my expectations in terms of both the quality of the trails as well as the scenery. If you were to blindfold me and drop me into this wilderness in some random place, I might immediately think that I was dropped into the southern Utah kind of Escalante area. And that's another thing worth noting is the trail system out here is remarkably well marked with large cairns the entire way. Every single trail I took had good trail markers, and anywhere that there wasn't footprints, there was actually a lot of cow activity, and what I mean by that is a lot of cow prints. So it seems like the cows use the same trails as people do, and that means that they keep the trail tread packed down when people aren't walking on it, which is nice. And even when the trail tread wasn't really well marked, there were just cairns like all over the place. So that was really nice because I expected to have to do route finding at least some of the time, and I really didn't even have to look at my map or pull up my GPS hardly at all. But yeah, I will definitely be coming back to the Sycamore Canyon Wilderness in the near future. There are a few trails on the trail network here that I didn't get around to hiking, and I'm going to do a completely separate loop that follows more of Sycamore Canyon itself, because I only was able to get like a small distance down into the canyon. But yeah, the loop that I did over days 3, 4, and 5 were an unexpected treat. I actually wasn't expecting very much out of it, but it turns out that that second part of that loop I did on day 4, which was yesterday, Henderson Trail number 53, was just the star of the show. It was like all these red rock cliffs and just different colors, cliff bands, anything from white to peach to red. Pretty amazing stuff. But it was a lot of work to get up there and do that descent. That Yew Thicket Trail is really tough climbing. So I would have to think twice about doing that one again. Oh, and another thing, this wilderness is one of the least busy that I've ever been in. So I think I saw 2 people the entire time over 5 days, and that was pretty unexpected as well. I don't know if that's because I'm here in February, but if you asked me, February is a good time to go. I imagine it's more busy in March and maybe October. That's kind of the season out here. But yeah, it was really quiet, peaceful the entire time. Oh, and before I forget, let's talk about the elephant in the room, which is water. So water is scarce in this wilderness. I was able to find some, but this is, again, February through March is like the wet time of year. So Sycamore Canyon itself, after about 3.5 miles in, there's like a spring, but north of there, it's pretty much dry except for pools. That's with the exception of spring. In springtime there can be heavy flow to the point where it's unsafe to cross or be in that canyon. And then summer, of course, you wouldn't want to be in there when the monsoon season is in effect because of flash flood risk. So really the best time to be out here is probably early spring and fall. But again, water is an issue. On day 3 through day 5, I had to carry with me about 8 liters of water to make it through 3 days. Even though I did find water, you can't really rely on the sources out here. So that is a consideration to make if you're going to come out to the Sycamore Canyon Wilderness. Anyway, enough talking for me. I'm going to keep hiking. I only got a couple miles back to the car. All right, I can see the trailhead up ahead. That means we have about half a mile to go. And we are about to cross Sycamore Creek again. So I actually found the correct place to cross that, I guess. Yeah, that water's moving pretty fast, but at least it's not as deep as last time. Okay, I'm only a few hundred feet down from the trailhead, so I'm going to go ahead and call it quits here. So I'm definitely going to be coming back to the Sycamore Canyon Wilderness to do more videos in the future, so please stay tuned for those. But anyway, this has been an awesome trip. Like if you like, and subscribe for more. We'll see you on the next one.